Hi guys, welcome to the third session on entrepreneurship and innovation for the CMAT exam. Very good afternoon to all of you. So guys, we have done, or rather I have taken 2 sessions till now. This is the third session. I have probably 2 or 3 more sessions coming your way. As of now, the CMAT exam is not yet confirmed. So we'll see how many sessions we can come, get to you. Right. So we'll have once again, like in the previous session, we're going to have a mixture of both theory and questions today. There is a lot of theory that I'm going to talk about. There are a lot of examples that I'm going to give you. And of course, there will be questions coming your way. As you already know by now, CMAT innovation, this particular section has 20 questions. None of them are calculation based. These are basic theory based questions, where the knowledge from theory can be used to give you the answer directly, or it could be GK based on these terms that we are learning, or based on what is happening in the world of entrepreneurship and innovation today. So those type of questions, these are the 2 broad type of questions that you can expect in the CMAT exam. Good afternoon, Aman. So let's go ahead and take a look at the theory for today's session. What is it that we're going to learn? Right, so I hope, yes, you can see this. Well, so part number 3. Okay, today we're going to start with the understanding of something called as a product life cycle. So when you're talking about innovation, we will also talk about the life cycle for entrepreneurs, and we're going to talk about a lot of life cycles today. The first life cycle we're going to talk about is the product life cycle. So what happens when a product starts, when you start making a product? What is the cycle through which it goes through? What are the different phases in the life of a product? Right, so that's what we're going to talk about. So you can see that the first stage is called as introduction. Right, the first stage is called as introduction. In fact, I'll just ask my team to set the screen a bit perfectly because it's slightly off, I believe. Yeah, that will be taken care of. Dipankar, I think we have a plan of 5 sessions as of now. We can probably extend it also. We will see how things move on. Right, so the first stage is called as introduction. The second stage is called as growth. The third stage is maturity. And the fourth stage is decline. So what are these 4 stages exactly? So introduction is that stage where the product is being introduced into the market. So people don't know about the product's existence. So the introduction phase typically talks about marketing the product to the people, letting people know that the product exists, telling them what are the benefits of this product, why should they choose this product over the other products. So basically this is the first step of introducing the product into the market, letting people know that it exists and making them, enticing them, tempting them to buy the product over the competitors. The second is the growth phase. What is this growth phase? Typically, growth phase is where you have the product which is now being accepted in the market. Now, it is not necessary that every product should go through this life cycle. Why? Because if the product is a failure, after introduction itself, there's no growth. People see that it's not a good product, they'll leave it. So there are many products like that. They've been launched, they have failed. But a product which is successful will go through these 4 stages. So the second stage is called as a growth phase. So what is this growth phase? So now the people know about the product. They know what are the benefits of it. So there is a demand for the product in the market. So the growth phase is where you basically make sure that the supply is increased because there is a demand. You're trying to meet the demand. You're trying to pump in the numbers in terms of production. You make, the supply chain will increase. The number of units produced will increase. Your cost of production will come down. Why will the cost of production keep coming down slowly? Because when you start producing more and more, the per unit cost will start coming down. So overall cost of production will go up. But because the number of units are going up, the cost per unit will come down. Right? And yes, you will still keep marketing it. You will still try to keep growing the market, making this go to a lot of people. So that's typically what happens in the growth phase. Then you have a phase called as a maturity phase. This is the best phase in terms of profitability. See, even in growth, there is some profit. It is not the best possible profit. Introduction will not have any profit. Typically, introduction is more of cost because you'll have a lot of marketing costs, you'll have a lot of production costs, you'll have a lot of sales activities happening. So, introduction is mostly no profit, mostly spending of money. Growth will start or continue with the spending of money, will slowly turn profitable, and maturity is where you get the maximum benefit in terms of the money that you're making. Why? Because the production line, by the time you reach the maturity stage, the production line of the product is stabilized. So you know what is the demand, you know what is the supply you can give. That is not going to increase anymore because you know that you're meeting the demand now. Anything more would be an unnecessary stockpiling of things. You will have some buffer, that's okay. But your production line has stabilized, your marketing channels are stabilized, and your marketing spend will now come down. In the maturity phase, your marketing spend will come down. Why will the marketing spend come down? Because you don't have to market as much as a new product. Everybody knows about it. The growth is more or less tapered off. There is no more increment of 20% growth, 30% growth anymore. It's going to be a 1.5%, 2%, 3% growth year on year. That's it. Not more. So whatever people would want to buy, those people are already your customers now. They keep coming back to you again and again if it's a recurring product like a toothpaste. So let's say Colgate today, they do whatever marketing they do it consistently. It's not that every year they'll increase the marketing budget by 30%. It doesn't happen that way because it's a very mature product. People who use Colgate as a toothpaste, they know the benefits of it. They'll keep continuing to use Colgate. Yes, some of them will go out, some of them will come in. But more or less the customer base is same. So I will not be spending extraordinary amount unnecessarily on marketing now. Also, my production costs have tapered off, or rather the growth has, the cost increase has tapered off, except for the raw material costs now. More or less, I know what is my production cost going to be every year. My supply chain is much more organized, so I know what are the costs involved. There is no more unnecessary or unexpected costs anymore. So maturity is where everything is more or less precisely understood, and you're making profits again and again for the year on year for the company. Right? So this is called as a maturity phase. It is a decent phase where the company actually starts getting the benefits for the investments they have done in the first two stages. Shriya Rao says, complete the sessions fastly as the time is less. Shriya, we have time, don't worry. We will finish the 5 sessions. These 5 to 6 sessions are enough for you to get all the theory as far as your innovation and entrepreneurship section is concerned. Last year, these 5-6 sessions, similar sessions that I've taken, we were able to get 16 questions directly from these sessions out of the total 20. So we know what we're covering. Don't worry about that, Shriya. Leave it to me. Okay. Somashekar says, planning of this 5 sessions will enough for main exam to get 15 plus. Yes, Somashekar, last year that's what happened. Anyway, then there is a decline. So you should understand, why will there be a decline in a product? Why should there be? I just spoke about maturity and you're making a lot of profit. Why will there be a decline? Now, typically a decline comes for every product, but the time at which the decline comes will vary. Every product will go through these 4 cycles depending upon the product size and the product demand. The decline phase will come early, later, very late, whatever else it is. But why will this decline always come? It's like inevitable, like death. Death is a certainty, right? Similarly, a decline is a certainty. Why is it certain? Because of multiple reasons. Okay. First reason, people might have been using the same product again and again, and I will not say the word bored, but they want something new. Imagine a car. There was once a car called Toyota Qualis. One of the best-selling cars in the Toyota portfolio. But they themselves deliberately reduced it, and they brought, in place of Qualis, they brought Innova. Now everybody knows Innova. Why did they do that? It was a nice selling car because they realized that, look, my sales have remained constant now. The sales are not growing for a very, very long time. Slowly they'll see a downward trend. Why is this downward trend in sales coming back? Because now Qualis is a very old car for the customer. Think of it, I'm a new person wanting to buy a car. I've been thinking about Qualis for a very, very long time. I mean, I've been hearing about Qualis, not thinking about. Hearing about Qualis for a very, very long time, and it's a very old car now. So now I want something fresh as a customer. I don't want to go back to the same car again. Or I have been using Qualis, let's say, another type of customer. I've been using Qualis. Why would I want to buy the same car again? I've been using it for the last 7, 8 years, 10 years. So I would want to buy a new car, a different car. If Toyota does not give me a new car, I will go to another brand. So I want a car like Qualis, but not exactly Qualis. So that's what they will realize is happening, and they will slowly, it's called phasing out. They will bring a new product in its place and they'll phase out the old product so that the customers who want to remain with the brand will continue with the new product and the old product is gone. The second reason why this will also happen is because of the competition. So when you see that a car is doing very, very well, the competition will try to emulate you and will actually try to copy some features of yours, and will probably one of them will not be successful, two of them will not be successful, but when 10 people try, 3 or 4 of them will be successful in making a product similar to yours at a similar cost, probably with probably 1 or 2 extra features also, because they're copying you so they can put extra features. That will eat a little bit of your share of market also. That could be another reason why the tapering off will happen. So once these things, and there are a couple of other reasons also, but once these things slowly start happening, a brand manager will realize that, okay, now I am moving from maturity to decline. So that is where they consciously decide to kill the product themselves instead of letting it die on its own, and in its place they will bring a new product. That way they will increase their customer base, new products, so there'll be more. Why do you think iPhones, they keep coming out with an iPhone every year? Right? So typically they want to bring something fresh out to the customers and they want to keep the customers going with them. Okay? Well, these are the 4 stages of product life cycle. So here's a question, very straightforward. Now this question is about entrepreneurial life cycle. What is the life cycle of an entrepreneur? So no theory here, I'll explain the theory a little bit later, but now you understood the previous life cycle, this becomes kind of easier for you to understand. Go ahead and give me the answer. What is the correct option for this? Dipankar, price increase for iPhone, yes, that happens because they put in some, so they will keep putting in some new feature and they say it's an extra price, people keep buying it, but that's okay. I'm not a fan of Apple. I like Apple products, but I'm not a fan of it. I don't use Apple too. Anyway, so what is the answer to this? Right, the correct answer is option C. So startup, so entrepreneur is somebody who starts something new on their own, right? So the start is startup, not initiation. It's not initiation. It's called the startup phase. Then comes the growth. I already explained. In a startup, you start an idea, you build, it's very similar to the product life cycle. You start, you put in your maximum effort. There is hardly any return. You might not even get a salary. You just own a company. You own a business idea. You keep putting your efforts in it. Try to get investors, try to get money on that startup, try to get people to give you the funding, try to sell the product to the people, let people know that this product exists. Very similar. So that's the startup phase. Growth phase is again very similar to what we have just seen. So I'm not explaining it once again. Maturity also is very, very similar. So there it's a product, here it is a life cycle of an entrepreneur. So in this business, my business has now reached maturity. And exit may or may not happen for an entrepreneur. Not always. There are some entrepreneurs who will continue throughout their life as an entrepreneur. They will retire. But somewhere or the other, exit has to happen, not the type of exit that I spoke about in the product life cycle. There's no dying, I mean, literal dying is there, but an entrepreneur dying off in the, figurative term doesn't exactly happen here, because a person might choose to retire. I would not call it as dying per se. It's just that the entrepreneur has done whatever they can in their life. At the age of 50, 55, they would have made a lot of money. They would say, okay, now let me relax with my grandchildren or my children. That's fine. Exit is basically what happens when they stop being an entrepreneur anymore, for various reasons again. So this is typically what happens. The only difference between A and C is development. It is not development, it is growth. So startup, growth, maturity and exit. So the reason why I have clubbed these two is because these two life cycles are very similar, the product life cycle and the entrepreneurial life cycle, with just one small difference, and that is the first and the last part, which is the exit and startup instead of the introduction and decline. There is no decline per se for the entrepreneur. An entrepreneur does not decline. He will exit the business or exit the complete entrepreneurial lifestyle itself and relax. Okay, now we are going to look at 2 different ideas called market pull and technology push. We will understand what is the idea behind these 2 terms and what do they mean. First, let's start with market pull. Market pull is basically the way in which a product, the way in which an innovation happens. or product is developed, an innovation or product is developed based on the market requirement. So remember, it is a market which is pulling you or pulling something towards it. What is that pull, or what is the pull resulting in? It is resulting in a product, or it is resulting in a new innovation which is catering to the market demand. So here in market pull, the demand comes first, the product or the idea comes later. Okay, so for example, Swiggy, there was a demand for home delivery. People wanted such a thing. So it is a demand, and they brought in a nice app which basically made sure that, look, your life is made easier. So people always wanted such a thing. And yes, somebody saw that there is a need for it. They came with a very good business idea, a very robust technology. So innovation and product both came together and met this demand that was existing. So example, cameras. Advancement in computational speeds. You want more and more faster and faster computers. I keep saying this again and again. Today, my phone can do things probably 10 times faster than what my childhood computer could have done. You know, my phone today saves so much more data than what my entire floppy disks when I was in my 5th class or 4th class could have stored. So we want faster and faster things. We want more speed, more space, and energy efficient devices. So again, you are looking at this LED devices, LED bulbs, things like this, which will take a fraction of the cost. ACs, nowadays energy efficient ACs. All these are demands which are currently there in the market, and the suppliers or the manufacturers are coming up with innovative technology to meet this demand. So this kind of product innovation is called as market pull based innovation or market pull based product launch. Okay. The second is the technology push. This is interesting. Technology push is where the technology first comes. There is no demand for it. The technology came first and you are pushing it into a market saying that, look, this is existing, if you want, you buy it. The best example is smartphones. When normal phone was there, nobody knew what is a smartphone. People were not thinking about a smartphone, right? So when smartphone was first launched, there was no demand for a smartphone. So there is no pull from the market. People were happy with a phone. You gave them something better. The moment you gave something better, they realized, oh, this is a wonderful product, let's buy this. So then the demand started. So in technology push, the innovation comes first, the demand comes later. The innovation comes first, the product is created and sent into the market. If the product is good, the demand gets generated later on. So such kind of a process or the path is called as technology push path, where you create something and push it to the people. For example, automobile. So people were riding on horses. They wanted faster horses. Somebody thought, okay, if I want something faster, let me make a new product altogether, which does not tire at all. And hence the entire thing was launched. Similarly, computers. So all these are new things. Touchscreens technology. We had feature phones. You know, when smartphones were launched, they did not have a touch screen. People are happy with playing Nokia, that snake game happily. You didn't need a touch screen for that, correct? People are happy playing it. Then came the smartphones. Apple came and said, look, I'm going to give you a complete touch screen. There are no buttons anymore. People didn't want that. It's not that people were demanding for it, but Apple launched it and people found it wonderful. They took it up and the product became a success. So product success can happen in both ways. Because of the market pull, you give the correct product to the market, that was what they are expecting and demanding. Or technology push, you create a perfect product which people will like without so the difference here is there is a market research that will happen. In market pull, there has to be a market research to understand what type of a product, what features are needed, what cost people are ready to pay, etc., etc. Here, there is no market research needed. Because it's a new technology, what research are you going to do? Because the market does not exist at all, the demand does not exist at all. So do you think when the aeroplane was created by or invented by the Wright brothers, did they go around and do a market survey, will you fly on my plane? No. They just wanted to create something new, and then people started flocking towards it. So that's basically what happens. Okay, here's a question based on the theory we just discussed. Give me an answer to this. Go through carefully. It's a trap. Okay, give me the correct answer to this. What is the answer, guys? Ashmita, Aman, Shrishtu, Dipankar, Taji, Somashekar. Quick answer. Okay. First, let's eliminate the options. Market push is not the correct word, so that itself is wrong. There is no such thing called as market push. It is either market pull or technology push, correct? Which means technology pull is also wrong. So it's technology push, market pull, right? The logic is understood, so two options are gone. So A is wrong, D is wrong. Now between B and C, let us see what is the correct answer. Technology push innovation in response to, now remember, Apple already did the technology push. A response to Apple is not called technology push, because the moment Apple launched, the product got acceptance and now the demand exists in the market. So it is the market pull innovation which is the correct answer. Because remember, we are talking about response to Apple's iPhone. So once iPhone was already launched, that's why I said there's a trap. I knew many of you will be giving technology push. Apple was a technology push, but not the reason for Nokia's decimation. Why? Because Apple launched something, a new technology which was not existing. Then the demand for this technology grew and Nokia could not keep up with it. So Nokia could not keep up with the market pull. Hence, Nokia lost because of the market pull. Clear? So the correct answer is option B. I hope the reason is very clear. Very close answers, but there's a very nice logic why B is correct and C is wrong. Right, guys? Let's move on. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is something called as the diffusion of innovation theory. So what is this diffusion of innovation theory? So it is developed by this person called E.M. Rogers in 1962. You can remember the name Rogers because this could be asked as a fact-based question directly. Who developed the diffusion of innovation theory? Something like that. Okay. So what does this theory explain? It explains how over time an idea or product gains momentum. So when a new technology, when a new idea is introduced, how does this idea go across people? Diffusion is a process by which a substance goes from one medium to another medium. So here the substance is the idea and medium are the people. So once target people to another target people to another target people, how does this idea propagate? How does this idea go forward? That is called as the diffusion theory. Okay. So the end result of this is that people as a part of the social system, which is basically a social construct, adopts this new idea. So if the diffusion is happening properly and it is a success, then it means that the idea has percolated the general audience and people have accepted the idea. That's the reason why it is going forward. See, if you don't like the idea, you will not discuss it with others and you leave it. But if you are discussing with the others and the idea is gaining, it's reaching out to wider audience, it means there is some acceptance in it or there's a good acceptance in it, right? So this is what the diffusion theory talks about. So this diffusion theory, when you're talking about it, this process of idea acceptance happens through people. It happens through people. So the people are categorized into various types. There are 4 or 5 categories of such people. So we're going to look at what are these categories of people who will lead to the diffusion of a particular idea. Okay. So who are these people? So these are called as the adopter categories. There are totally 5 adopter categories. Okay. So this is the classification of customers on willingness to adopt new technology. So when something new has been introduced, the people who try to look at it early, a little bit late, very late, very, very late, depending upon how enthusiastic somebody is to try a new technology. These are the categories of people. And these are the people who will lead to the diffusion of the idea. So these are innovators, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. These are the 5 terms you have to remember. Let's take a look at each one of these terms. What do these terms exactly mean? First, innovators. Who are these people called as innovators? Now remember, these innovators are not the entrepreneurs. These are not the entrepreneurs. These are not the inventors. That's not the meaning. Okay, please don't get confused. Innovators are not inventors of the product. Innovators here are the people who want to adopt or try the technology. You know, they're perfect geeks. Geeks or nerds are the words that you use, who are very, very enthusiastic about anything new. They want to try everything new. They don't have a problem. They'll try, they'll discard if they don't like. But they are not hesitant to trying. And it's a very, very minuscule population, very, very small percentage of the population. You know, when a new version of some software is launched, they'll be the first people to want to try it. They don't mind trying something which is having bugs because they like that newness. So typically it's a very, very small percentage, 1-2% of the entire population will be of these kind of people. So they are typically young in age because the younger audience are new to change, are acceptable to a lot more change than older audience, because typically people who are a bit older in their 30s, 40s, 50s, they are reluctant to change because their life is set in a particular way. They don't really want change. I'll not say not really want change, but yeah, they would not be very happy going through the change. But yes, at the age of teenagers and the early 20s, 19, 20 years, 22, 23 years, they want to try things. They are full of life. I want to try this out. They discuss it. In fact, they look at it as a status symbol that I'm trying something new. You guys are not doing it. That's one, that's the age category you're talking about, typically young. And of course, because of that age, you are taking risk. Remember, when a new phone gets launched and you are okay to buy and try it, you are taking a risk because the product is not known it is a new company altogether. The company is not known, but you are just the promise of having something unique with you is what is making you go towards it and try it. So they take risks which others don't. And of course, they have money. See, if I want to try a new product, new technology, I have to purchase it and try it, right? So I need to have money. If I have limited money, I would not want to splurge it on something just to try it, right? So I will probably not buy a new phone which promises 2-3 things without knowing how the phone is. I personally would like to wait for about 5-6 months, look at what are the issues in the phone. If there are no issues, I'll probably go and buy. So I'm definitely not in the innovators category, but there are people who don't mind spending money on a new phone, new brand, new company altogether without even knowing what the company has done till now. Something new has come, they would like to spend money. So those kind of people have money. And of course, they have higher social class, you have higher money and all of that. As I said, the percentage is very, very small. Dipankar, grandparents, laggards. Example, foldable phone. 100x zoom also. Yeah, well, don't say all grandparents are laggards. I know a couple of grandparents who will probably give you a run for your money. So yeah, but yeah, typically I understand what you're saying. Next, the next category of people are called early adopters. So these are not as enthusiastic as the previous audience, that is the innovators, but yeah, they are also relatively more enthusiastic. Okay, but a bit more cautious. They are not as carefree as the innovators. So they will say, okay, let me wait for a little bit while. It's like, first day for sure. Let me take a movie analogy. I am a movie buff. So these guys are first day for sure, guys. Pathan has released first day for sure. I don't care how it is. I'll just go and watch. 6 o'clock morning show, special fan show. I'm going to go and watch. Those kind of people. Second are early adopters. They like movies. They like to watch movies. Probably not on the first day for sure. I will read a review. Even if it is okay-ish, I will go somewhere in the evening. They will not wait till the end of the 1 week. They will say, okay. Typically, they are the kind of people, I'm using an analogy so that you can all understand. They're not the people who will rush for the first show, but they will say, okay, fine, let me wait for the review, probably read it a little and then I'll take a call. Okay, so they are like innovators, but not so early. They are a bit more cautious, Because of such cautiousness, there are slightly higher in terms of percentage, about 12 to 14% of the market is of these type of people. They have similar traits as innovators. They will also have to spend money, obviously, right? You are just doing it a little bit later than the innovators, that's all. But you'll still have to spend money. You have to be a little bit more risk taking than others, slightly less risk taking than innovators, but in general, compared to the other population, you're talking about 2% and then 14%. So the remaining 80, 83, 84% population is still not taking that much amount of risk that you are taking. So yeah, relatively to everybody else, you are still risk taking. They have similar traits and they become opinion leaders. This is where the interesting part comes in. So early adopters are those people who can form opinions, And why do people listen to them? See, if I am known to be a person who goes and watches all movies first day, first show, whether I say movie is good or bad, typically, or whether I say I'm buying this or I'm going to that movie, that action of my going to the movie or buying a new product will not give you any significant information to you. Why? Because you know that I'll always do it. So I will not be an opinion setter as an innovator. But when it comes to early adopters, you know that I'm a bit more cautious. I'm not going to rush every time. Yeah, sometimes I will not look at the movie also because if the review is bad. So if I'm a person who has read the review but still going early, I'm going to be a person who can create opinions. So typically this segment is where every new technology wants to focus on. They want innovators, of course, but this is the segment because this segment will go out and speak positively. It's a decent chunk. 12 to 14% of the market is not a small amount. And these people will start creating opinions, positive or negative, about your product. So the product managers or the brand managers will have to be very, very focused on this particular segment to make sure that the negative word of mouth does not come out. Okay? Then we have the third phase or third type of people where these are the general chunk. You can say 35% of the market is here. They are called as the early majority. So this is a third in the adoption phase. Once this group accepts a tech, it gets widely adopted by the rest. So this is the group where if this group accepts it, that people who are waiting till the weekend in the movie analogy and then watching the movie on the weekends, and they say, okay, the movie is good, you can go. The vast majority, so 35-36% of the market is comprised of these people, and typically they don't adopt, they don't want to try it. See, I have a weekend, I'm going to a movie, I would have done my research properly. I don't want to waste my time unnecessarily. I am not a person who is going to wait for 5 days, do my research, then go and watch even if the movie is bad. If the movie is bad, I would leave it. So if I'm going if I'm going to the movie, it is basically because I like the review. I read positive things about it. Probably there are other couple of things. So similarly, if you look at it from the product side, I'm a person who's not jumping onto the product, who's done the research of the product, who finds utility. Most important is these guys want utility and value for money. And of course, practicality. It should not be just a show-off thing. Because this is a large chunk of the market, these guys would ideally want to see the benefit, the use, and the practicality of the product that I'm going to use. Once this chunk comes in, the rest of the people, here you can say it is accepted. If these set of people come in, you can say the product is accepted and it's a success. Because the others will follow. Others will just follow them. Okay? Then the fourth phase is called late majority. These people are now the people who are, reluctant to change. So I've been using product, okay, why should I go to this new product? What is so new about it? TK, it has 2-3 new features, but why should I shift? It's such a pain to shift from this to that. Again, new things I have to buy, learn new things. So all that kind of mentality. So very late. So unless the product is really, really good, they would not want to switch, right? And of course, they are not very tech savvy. They would need help in understanding, because anything new, that's one of the reasons, right? If I can understand everything very quickly, I don't mind switching. Because I don't understand things that easily, I need help in switching, and because of which I don't like to switch. And could be elderly to middle age depending upon exposure to tech. And yes, again, this is equivalent to the previous section category. Early majority and late majority are equal more or less in terms of the percentage of market. I would ideally say late majority will be slightly less than the early majority, but again, that's debatable. It's not a hard and fast rule, right? It's a market scenario. It can change. And fine, yes, I think these are the 5. Yes, and late majority laggards. Yeah, I think we missed laggards. Did we? So laggards are the remaining. So in fact, that particular slide is missing over here. Laggards are basically the people who come in last. Basically either because the product is not available anymore, or the product is dying, or they want a new feature which is not there in the product at all, or the product is obsolete. So the very last set of people who are going to come into this new technology, and it is not because they want to do it, it is because they are forced to do it. So they are worse off than late majority, laggards. Okay, these are the 5 phases of adoption market. People in adoption of the new technology. Okay. Right. So question here: diffusion is a concept that refers to. The answer should be straightforward. What is the answer? Diffusion is a concept that refers to. Yes, it is C, buyers of service, because diffusion is a concept which talks about the acceptability of a product or an idea by whom? By people who will be using it. So buyers of a service, people who are using it are the buyers of the service. Okay. Next question: the mechanism that unlocks the door of an adopter population for the propagation of an innovation is. What is this? It's again a technology, what do you call, term-based question. You have to understand the terms in this. Think about it. Right. So here the correct answer is option A, technology substitution. So the mechanism that unlocks the door of an adopter population. So basically what they're saying is, what is the process which will lead to the adopters trying a new technology? It is technology substitution, not imitation. See, people are not, innovators are the people who want to try something new. They don't want technology imitation. It's the same technology, it's same imitation. Why would I want to waste my time on it? But if it's a new technology, a technology which is substituting, changing completely, or bringing something new, that is what I would like to test. So that is called as the technology substitution is the process. So if I am a creator of a product, I would want to give a new reason or a different reason, not the same reason why an adopter population would want to come to me. Okay, so that's basically the reason. It is option A. Very good, Dipankar. Okay, the next is 5 stages in the change adoption process. So now we have seen who are the people in this adoption process. Now we will see what are the changes in the adoption process. Now this adoption process could be within a company, or it could be a product in society. It could be anything. So let me explain what I mean. So whenever something new has been introduced, it will go through these 5 stages. Now, if for example, let's say a new policy is coming into the company, it will have to be accepted. It will go through these 5 phases. Similarly, a new product has been introduced into the society, into the market. So it will have to go through these 5 phases. So these are called as the 5 phases in change adoption process. What are these 5 phases? The first is the knowledge phase. Knowledge, persuasion, decision, implementation, and 5 confirmation. Please remember these 5 stages. First is the knowledge phase. Second is the persuasion phase. Third is the decision phase. Fourth is the implementation phase, and 5 is the confirmation phase. 5 is the confirmation stage. So what is this? What is the meaning of this knowledge phase? The knowledge phase is where either in a company, so I'm taking 2 examples and I'm explaining. One is a new HR policy or something like that is introduced in the company. Second example I'm taking is a new product is launched into a market. In both cases, knowledge phase deals with the people who are launching this. In HR example, the people who made the policy. In the product example, the people who created the product and the company who's creating the product. Both these examples, the knowledge phase deals with letting the people know that this has happened, this has come. In terms of a HR policy, letting the people know that this new policy is going to be implemented. Okay, this is what will be taking in place from effect from so and so date. In the case of a product, obviously there is no, in a product you can't force people to buy it, so you let people know, market the product, let people know the benefits of it, let people know that this product is at this price. That's called as the information phase. Okay, the next is called as a persuasion. This is the attitude formation stage. So this is the second stage where the people who are launching these things will try to form positive attitude in people. How do they do that? So they will talk about, in terms of the policy example, they will talk about the positive effects of this policy. How is it better than the previous policy? Why should you be happy about it? What benefit will this bring to you over compared to the previous policy that they had? So things like that. They will tell all the good things to make sure that you are positive towards it. Similarly, if I'm launching a product, I'll talk about the unique benefits of this product. Whatever is the benefit, why should you buy this product over what you already have? Why should you switch from what you have to this? So all the good reasons why this product is something that you should buy. This is where I try to form the attitude. So if I don't manage this stage properly, then the attitude can become negative, because of which my product can go for a toss. It could be a disaster. So I have to carefully plan this persuasion stage, which people will, after the knowledge has been put into the place. The second thing is make sure that this knowledge, now that the people know that I exist, what are the benefits of me? That's what I have to make sure. That is called as a persuasion or the attitude formation stage. Third is a decision stage. Third decision stage is not exactly in my control as a launcher. So if I'm launching an HR policy, or if I'm launching a product in the market, I can do the first two things, control them quite a bit, but the third is not exactly in my control. It's a decision to be taken by the people to accept it or reject it. So yes, I can influence them as much as I can, but final decision is to be taken. So that's the decision stage. Implementation. Implementation is once, if you take the HR policy, once people accepted it, let's say the decision is yes. Now, what should I do for the implementation of this HR policy to make sure that this policy is across the board and without any errors or without any glitches? Similarly, if I'm talking about product or a service, so service has been accepted or product has been accepted. Now, the next process is to make sure that the product delivery and the service delivery happens without any problem. It is the implementation of this idea now to make sure that there is no problem in the last step, which is making sure that the people get it, right? And yes, the fifth stage is the confirmation stage. What is this confirmation stage? This is very interesting. By here, the customer is done. The fifth stage is not about the customer. The fifth stage is about the launcher now. Let's take the first example once again, the example of an HR policy. So I have launched the HR policy, let people know, which is the knowledge. I have convinced them, which is the persuasion. People have decided to go for my policy, they're okay with it, which is the decision stage. And I've also rolled out this HR policy throughout. I've made sure that I've taken all the steps that this policy is going to be accepted and launched everywhere. Now the confirmation stage comes. So I've done all this. Now the question is, look, I will now check the current status with respect to what I wanted to achieve. So when I started this HR policy, there was a reason I did this. Now after implementation, I will check the reason for me to start this new policy. Is the current status meeting that reason? Or is it the current status that I am, the current situation that I am in, answering the reason or the question that I raised for which this policy was given out? It is basically a confirmation from the perspective of the launcher to say that this was a success or a failure. Success or a failure in terms of achieving what it wanted to achieve. For example, I might have decided to come up with a policy, everybody accepted it, it has been launched properly. After 1 year, I realized that the purpose of me launching this is not served. Everybody has accepted it, but the purpose is not served. So do I call this as a success? Probably not. Because the success of a policy is based on what it set out to achieve. Similarly, as a product is actually that way easier. If it's making money at the end of the day, you call it success. So confirmation from the product side is basically, okay, do I have a tick mark for all the reasons why the product is being launched? So of course, one of the main reasons is to gain money at the end of the day. Yes, your product is accepted, you're making money, but apart from that, are there other reasons that the product is launched, and did it serve its purpose? Okay, because there are certain products which will be, I gave you this example, I think last time, I don't remember if I given this. If you notice, your Xbox and your PlayStation, PS, these are actually sold at a little bit of a loss. The consoles are sold at a loss. So the product's purpose is not to make money there. The product's purpose is to make sure that people buy them, and then they will make money by selling games. So here it's not purely money. So people, if I have a PlayStation, in fact I have PlayStation 4, I played with my kid who is 9 years now. So we played 2-player games. So we purchased a lot of games. He has a lot of games, Batman, this, that and all. So the purpose of PlayStation is met with respect to me, because they made sure that I purchased PlayStation. I didn't pay the exact cost for PlayStation because I got it relatively cheaper compared to their production cost. They would have sold it to me at about 30,000. Their cost would have been 35, 38,000, 40,000, whatever. So they gave it to me at a discount, right? It's not the discount on the MRP. The MRP itself is lesser than the cost. But they are okay with it. Why? Because that extra 10,000 they are giving low to me, they will, the moment I buy 3 games, it will cost me 10,000. I would have purchased by now about 15, 16 games for him, right? So I would have easily, given them the cost back. So the purpose from their perspective is met. Okay, so that is the confirmation stage. Is that clear? Here's a question. Quickly give me an answer. Which step in the model of innovation adoption leads either to an individual or a firm to form a favorable or an unfavorable attitude? Straightforward. Very good. So the correct answer is option C, attitude formation stage. That's the second stage, persuasion stage, right? Very straightforward. Okay, next we are going to look at the differences between an entrepreneur and a businessman. There is a difference between these two people, or gentlemen, gentlewomen also, ladies and gentlemen, right? So what is the difference between these two? First, businessman and entrepreneur. If you're looking at the first difference, businessman is a market player, maybe current market leader. He is already in the market. He's been there for some time. He could be a market leader, may not be a market leader, whatever, but he's already in the market. Entrepreneur is a market creator. Typically, entrepreneur comes with a new idea, new set of things, and this market may have not existed before. He's creating the market. One of the differences. It could also be that I'm there in the market already exists, I'm starting new, but I'm starting my new venture. That is also true. But typically the difference is, businessman is somebody who's existing in is present in an existing market. Entrepreneur typically creates a new market, right? Relatively low risk taker. Relatively, again, remember, a businessman is taking a much higher risk than a salaried employee. But compared to an entrepreneur, he is a relatively a little bit less of a risk taker. Whereas entrepreneur is a high risk taker. The processes that the businessman follows are traditional processes. What has been existing for some time, they follow that typically. And entrepreneur thinks about out of the box processes. They are bringing in completely new things which did not exist till now. Disruptive is the word that you can use. Okay. Their focus, the businessman's focus, will be on profits and increasing the enterprise value. Enterprise is the business, the company's value. So that's the focus, whereas the focus for the entrepreneur is on growth, people, customer acquisition. Okay, so these are the people. So the entrepreneurs, they focus on my customers. They're not worried about profitability. They're not worried about company value. Typically, they are worried about first customers, making sure that the customers are happy, selling new products to them, and growth. Maturity phase for them comes later. Typically, these guys are in the matured phase. maturity phase of the product. Here you are in the innovation or the growth phase. And of course, these guys face high competition because the market already exists. So there will be a lot of businessmen like one person. So there's a high amount of competition. Typically here the competition will be less because you're creating new market. If you're creating a new market, obviously it's a blue ocean. There's no such competition at all, right? Okay. Another question now. Very quick answer, straightforward. Who among the following is involved in making risky investments for equity capital with the hope of gaining better returns? Who makes investments and purchase a part of the company as equity capital? So basically you're going to be a part of the company. Entrepreneur is not going to invest. Entrepreneur is the person who is taking the investment. Hedge fund manager, we already discussed, they typically don't invest in startups. Mutual fund manager, they go for listed companies. They don't again go for small or unlisted companies. Businessman is a person who will again take the money, not the person who will be giving the money. The correct answer is venture capitalist. Okay, the correct answer is option E. Which of the following attitudes is generally not associated with an entrepreneur? So, which of these 5 options is not associated with an entrepreneur? Out of the box thinking, yes, he should have it. So, therefore, this is not the answer. Because we are talking about what should he not have. He should have out of the box thinking. So, that's not your answer. Desire to bring change. He should have the desire to bring change. I want to do something new. That's the desire. He should have it. So, that's not your answer. Product or process improvement. Of course, I want to improve the process or the product. So that is again one of the reasons why I'm going to start something new. So that is not your answer. Status quo in business, of course, will therefore become your answer, because if I want to do the same thing, why would I want to start a new company? I mean, it's not called entrepreneurship anymore. You're just doing the same thing again on your own. Okay, it could be called as an entrepreneurship, but it is not innovation per se. Okay. So here, whenever you're talking about an entrepreneur, we're talking about somebody who's starting something completely new, not a person who's starting the business on their own. Typically, anybody starting the business on their own is also called as an entrepreneur. Nothing wrong with it. But here, the meaning of entrepreneur is a person who's starting something completely new. This is still done. Imitation of existing products with better features, because we have seen that there's an entrepreneur who does this kind of things. Imitation entrepreneur. The person who copies things and add better features, right? There are different types of entrepreneurs we have seen, right? One of the types is imitation entrepreneur. Hustle entrepreneur, remember those phrases that we have used? Hustle entrepreneur, social entrepreneur, intrapreneur, and all of these. Okay, next. In fact, entrepreneur has come over here. Which of the following is not associated with an entrepreneur? By the way, do you remember who is an entrepreneur? Who is an intrapreneur? Let me give you the idea behind an entrepreneur. Intrapreneur is similar to an entrepreneur. Only difference is he is not the owner of a company. He is a big company. There's a big company like Apple, let's say, or Microsoft. There will be a small team created and there will be a team head. This team will be given a small budget, shoestring budget, and they will have to continue with the project. So they will have similar challenges as an entrepreneur, similar resource crunch as an entrepreneur. They will have similar risk and reward as an entrepreneur. But the problem is, or the difference is, that this does not belong to the person, to the entrepreneur. So intrapreneur is a person who is inside a big company starting a small project as an owner. But as an owner, figuratively speaking, not the technical owner. Technical owner means the person who the product belongs to. See, if I am building something within BYJU'S, it does not belong to me. I might be the project head, but I'm not the owner of the money that it makes, right? That's what it means. So, is an employee of the large organization? It is associated, so this is not your answer. Has been tasked with the job of innovating a new project? Yes, the company might give me a little bit of money saying that, look, start a new project and this is your idea. So I will be tasked with it. So that is associated with me. So this is not your answer. Faces high risk and rewards? Yes, of course, the risk and reward are high. So this is not the answer. Has access to better resources than an entrepreneur? This is typically not correct, because even in a big company, they would give not an unlimited amount of budget or resources. So you basically will have similar problems as an entrepreneur. because you will still have to convince the management to give you more money. You have to convince them that your product is a success. You have to give them something called as proof of concept. It is not easy. It's not that the company will say, okay, take 50 crores and start making this. No, you'll still have to fight for that money, because you have to convince them that they have to pay you money for this product. So the answer is option D. Last part, guys. I hope you enjoyed the session till now. We had a 55 minutes, wonderful session, I hope. Last three things that we're going to learn is the way in which a business can grow. Broadly speaking, a business can grow in three ways. First model is called bootstrapping. Second is called acquisition. Third is strategic partnering. Let's understand what each one is. And I'm sure you all know the terms might be new. Bootstrapping is also called as organic growth. What is this? So basically, I start a company, I will sell the product, make money from the product, make more products. So I'll get some profit. Using that profit, I'll make more products. So I'll keep growing based on that. So I am making my own growth. That is called as bootstrapping or organic growth. Organic growth means within myself, I am creating money within my company by selling the product. That extra money, I'm selling more products. That more money I'm getting, I'm selling more. It's a cycle. It will take time. It is not very easy. It will take years together to do this. So the problem in this is time taking. Time taking, time consuming. It could take 6, 7, 5, 4, whatever number of years. Acquisition is another way of growth, and this is very, very fast. Now, what is acquisition? Acquisition is buying something straight away. So I want to grow, I can straight away buy something. That becomes mine. So that thing which is already existing becomes mine. So I'm actually not growing. This is called as acquisition. Hence, it is also called as inorganic growth. It is not natural. Let's put it this way. Organic is natural growth. Inorganic is not natural growth. Okay, simple to understand. So you are acquiring something completely and you are saying, yes, I've grown. But actually, you have not grown per se. You have just bought something. Okay. And the last thing is called strategic partnering. Strategic partnering are typically your joint ventures, partnerships. For example, Maruti Suzuki had a partnership till about 4 years back, 6 years back, I guess. So Suzuki, a Japanese company, and Maruti, an Indian company, came together and they formed this Maruti Suzuki. Similarly, Hero Honda. Hero was an Indian company and Honda was a Japanese company. They came together and they formed a joint venture, or I don't know what you call it, called Hero Honda, and they used to sell motorcycles as Hero Honda. Now Honda separately and Hero separate, but before that they used to have a alliance. So basically these are called as strategic partnerships. You can grow using strategic partnerships. Why would you do that? Because I might have access to a market, you might have the technology and not access. For example, why Hero Honda came together? Because Honda had the technology to create wonderful motorcycles, whereas Hero had the market access in India. They were present in India. So Japanese company wanted to make entry into India, but they could not do it that easily. Whereas Hero wanted technology, but they were already present in India as a market. They were making cycles, not bicycles, not motorcycles, simple cycles, Hero cycles. So they joined together. So Honda supplied the material and Hero made sure that it reaches the audience in the country, customers in the country. So that's growth. Both of them are growing. One is getting access to people, the other is getting access to technology. Both of them are growing, right? So this kind of a thing also, can happen. That is called as strategic partnering. Okay, Dipankar, it's not self-funded. Organic is not self-funded. Funding can come from anywhere, but the growth is coming from me, from within the company. So I am selling the product, getting money out of it, and again selling the product, getting money out of it. I can borrow money also if I want. I can take investment also. It's got nothing to do with where the money is coming from. But the growth is coming not by acquiring things. It is my own company which is growing. I'm not buying and saying that, okay, now I have grown. That is the meaning. Okay. Right guys, so that brings us to the end of the session. I hope you guys understood and enjoyed this session. We have few more sessions coming your way. So please be in tune with our channel. Subscribe to our channel if you have not already done that, and give me a like on this video guys. I'll be happy to come back to you with a lot more information on innovation and entrepreneurship. Yes, we are starting a CAT batch very soon. So if you are interested in this, please download our BYJU'S Exam Prep app. You will be getting a scholarship test, and if you perform well in the scholarship test, you can get very heavy discounts. Every week students get discounts. So if you're interested, please download the app and write the scholarship test. Okay. We are having, okay, so there is a 21st March. This is done, I believe. Yeah, this is already done. Yes. All right guys, so thank you and have a wonderful weekend.